Welcome students. Myself Ahirrao VA from Department of Instrumentation and Control Engineering. मराठा विद्याप्रसारक समाजास कर्मवीर ॲडव्होकेट बाबूराव गणपतराव ठाकरे कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंग नाशिक. Here we are going to cover the topic use of statistical process control, in short SPC. Objective: to learn the concept of statistical process control. Outcome will be students will be able to understand the uses of statistical process controls for variables and attributes. Statistical process control. In many industries, there may be different processes. It is expected that the output of a certain process should be acceptable one. If it is the critical process, then the success of that process is must. To monitor that particular critical process, we may use one of the tool which is known as the statistical process control or SPC. It is the application of statistical methods to the measurement and analysis of variation in the process. SPC is to ensure the continual process capability and ability to meet the requirements. It is a pre-defect approach, means before the defect will occur or some failure may be caused by a certain process, before that the defect or the problem should get identified. Now, why we have to go for using the SPC? The very first answer to this question will be customer satisfaction. Then cost savings in inspection and testing. And the third is reduction in waste. Principles underlying SPC are internal variability. It is in terms of the common causes, also known as chance or random causes. And next is the external variability. Here, some assignable or special causes may be present. A process having only common causes and no special causes is called to be in the statistical control. Hence, it is required that whatever may be the different processes in industries, those should be under the statistical one. A process influenced by inherent causes fits into a normal distribution curve, which is known as the bell-shaped curve. Usually, we are going to plot the mu and the deviation or spread will be plus minus 3 sigma. Here we will go for the advantages of SPC. The behavior of the process can be predicted. If the process is statistically controlled, then all the products or the results of that particular process are acceptable one. The process trends can be studied If you will apply SPC to certain process, then there will be reduction in the operating cost. The efficiency will be greater. Then maintain stable process results in the acceptable products. There is early detection of faults. For implementation of the SPC technique, there is a use of control charts. These charts are divided into two main categories. The first category is the charts for variables, that is the measurable quantities, or where the process parameters can be expressed in terms of numbers. Usually the two charts are being used: X bar chart, that is the average chart, and the range chart. But in many industries, there is a combined use of both the charts for variables, that is X bar R chart. The next category will be charts for attributes, where the process variables cannot be expressed in terms of the numbers. Then we have to go for charts for attributes. Under this category, four different charts may be useful. The first is P chart, and it is for fraction defectives. The next is NP chart, which is for number defectives. Then C chart, number of defects present per unit or per product. And last is U chart, number of defects per unit in a sample of n units. First we will go for average and range charts. This is the sample plot showing the X bar as well as the R chart. Sample from 1, 3 up to 19. Similarly, whenever we are measuring or carrying out the measurement, then the mean value or the average value will be taken and it will get plotted. So it depends upon the user or the industry, and depending upon the criticalness of the process, how many samples we have to collect, we have to measure, as well as the sampling frequency. Similarly, in a group of measurements for which we have calculated and plotted the mean value or the average value, the range is also calculated. That is simply the algebraic difference between the maximum and the minimum value, and that is also plotted. If you will observe, there are 2 points which are going beyond the UCL. Those are shown by red squares. Now, when we have to plot the range as well as the average, then there will be the central value and the upper control limit as well as the lower control limit. If any measurement is crossing or going beyond the upper control limit or below the lower control limit, that indicates something went wrong. Thus, we can just get the idea that some problem may be occurring in that particular process, for which we are getting the readings of the average and range which is not the acceptable one, or which is beyond the control limits, either maybe upper or lower control limits. Here there is another chart. No any measurement of average and range is beyond the control limits, but if you will see to the left side, then it is showing the histogram. Now in the Microsoft Excel, you can go for plotting this particular chart, as well as you can also mention or enter all the details related with that particular process, the machine, the frequency, the measurement values, the mean value, the range, etc. When we are using the average and range charts, there are few equations which are useful depending upon the sample size, that is n, to calculate the central line as well as the control limits. So here, as we are going for only average and range chart, that's why here whatever highlighted equations by green color, only you have to go for these equations. X double bar will be the average of all the averages. Similarly, R bar will be calculated, but when we have to recalculate for the next cycle the values of upper and lower control limits, then we can use these equations. Two equations are separate for average chart as well as the range chart. If you will notice, then there is a use of few constants like here A2, D3 and D4. These constants can be referred from a standard table of the showing the sample size n varying from 2 to 20, and for each sample size they have provided in the standard table the values of the different constants like A2, D3, D4, A3, and two more are there, B3 and B4, but those are for another type of chart, that is the deviation type of chart. Similarly, as we have seen, there is a second category of control charts which is charts for attributes. In that case, the figure shows the various equations for calculation of the lower and upper control limits depending upon the constant sample size in case of P chart as well as in case of U chart. Hence, with the help of use of these equations, either for the range and average chart as well as for attributes, you can be able to calculate by simple equations the upper and lower control limits. Now every time you have to revise the calculation of these control limits so that the process, which may be a critical process, will be in good control, or if in near future the defects may occur, with the help of the trend of the values measured, you may easily detect at early stage the defects which may be occurring in near future. For studying in more details the statistical process control, few case studies and the use of statistical control charts, you may refer the book Industrial Organization and Engineering Economic by T. R. Bang and S. C. Sharma by Khanna Publications. Thank you.